Okay, in today's tutorial, we're going to do a magic ring using the cross stitch single crochet, along with learning how to start crocheting in the round so that we might be able to make a little toy or something else in the round. This is a particular bear that I made. He's cute, he's cuddly, but he's made with a cross stitch single crochet. To begin with, I used a magic ring, and as you can see here, it's very taunt, very nice. It's very professional looking. And if you learn how to do a magic ring, you will find that your projects will look much more professional. If you look closely at the stitching on the bear here, you can see that it has more of a cross stitch to it. You can see the little crosses in it. And because of that, it makes it a much tighter project, and it allows you to be able to have, to stuff a toy really, really tightly without seeing a whole bunch of holes. I know that when I first started doing things in the round, and I could pull some of those projects up, and I just laugh at myself because I'm thinking, wow, I thought they looked so beautiful, and they actually didn't look quite as good. They were nice, but they weren't quite as good as I've been able to do since I started doing the cross stitch single crochet. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing we need to do a magic ring is we just need our hook and our yarn that we're going to use. And I want to put about a 3 to 4 inch tail across my fingers, and I'm going to hold it between my index, my ring finger, and my pinky in place with my thumb. I'm going to then separate my two fingers, and I'm going to wrap that yarn around those two fingers, and then I'm going to take it up and over and create a cross, an X, and then I'm going to bring it back around and lock it and hold it with my ring finger, my pinky finger, sorry. And what will happen is that you'll have now this tautness to it that you wouldn't have if you didn't hold it this way. Underneath, you'll be holding both pieces of yarn with your thumb. On top, you'll be holding the top piece of yarn as well with your pinky finger. Now we're going to take our hook and we're going to go under the first piece of yarn and over the top. Again, we're going to go under the first piece of yarn and over the top of the second. We're going to pull that second piece underneath the first one. Now here's where we're going to create the first foundation to the magic ring. We're going to twist that hook and slide the yarn down to the shaft so that now we can see that we have a cross in here. That is going to give us a good foundation before we actually make our first foundation stitch. Again, let's do that again. Once we get it underneath the first piece of yarn, we're going to twist, slide it down to the shaft, and make sure that it's twisted as you see here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take and go underneath the yarn that's being held by the pinky and the thumb, and we're going to bring that under and inside this particular piece, this loop that's on the hook. Now we're going to slide the magic ring off of our hand, our fingers, and here's what we have. We have the beginnings of a magic ring. We have the tail, which is very important because that's going to help tighten the ring up. We have 2 loops. They are crisscross, and that's okay. It's supposed to be like that. And then we have the single yarn that goes around for the bottom part of the ring. And we have our working yarn, which is over here. Okay, so we're going to hold that particular loop in our hands. We're going to get our setup here so we can go ahead and make it. And now we're going to make what we call a cross stitch single crochet. The cross stitch single crochet is a little different just because it has a tighter look to it, and it has, when you look at it in the projects that you're going to be doing, you do have that cross stitch effect that you see in this. That particular cross stitch will allow you to have less holes, it'll be more taut, but not having to decrease your actual hook size as opposed to just using the regular hook size and changing the stitch. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our hook inside the ring, and instead of going under and pulling the yarn over, we're going to take the actual hook and go right over top of that yarn and pull it in. Then we're going to go under like we do a regular single crochet and pull through two loops. Again, we're going to go inside the ring, over the yarn with the hook, and then under the yarn with the hook and pull through 2. And we're going to do this 6 times, and I'm just going to do it slow so you can see. Under, over, under, pull up 2. Inside, over, under, pull through 2. Inside the ring, over the yarn, under the yarn, and inside, pull up 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we now have 6 single cross stitch, single crochets in there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to actually pull this taunt to make a ring. If you take your index finger and your thumb and just hold the first couple of stitches, the last couple of stitches that you just did, grab the tail and just pull. Now watch how that pulls that ring through there and tightens that really tight. And we're just going to keep pulling until we get it really tight here. And you can see that now we don't have any hole there. It's very, very, very tight and taut. And we can continue to tighten that if we need to as we work through the next couple of rounds. Now, instead of calling them rows, we do call them rounds because we are working in the round at this point. I like to use, at this point, to mark my rows, a marker. Now, you can use any type of marker that you want. I choose to use a contrasting yarn marker just because in a project like this, an amigurumi toy, or any type of project, you could be making a pumpkin for the fall festival in your house, or you can make ornaments for your tree or eggs for your Easter projects, things like that. Anytime you're doing that and you're making an amigurumi type toy, you're going to be moving this particular marker a lot. So you can choose to use a plastic marker that locks in and things like that, or don't use it and not lock it. It doesn't really matter as long as you have some type of marker that shows you where you are at the end of each round. So in this particular round, we want to make sure that we're going to increase twice. So we're going to do 2. We're going to do increase in each one of these single crochets around. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go inside the 2 loops of the single crochet, and we're going to go over top of the yarn, pull it through, make sure that these are the same tension, go under the yarn and pull through 2. We're going to do the same thing again in the same single crochet. Over the yarn, pull up a loop, under the yarn, pull through 2. Increase, we're going to put 1 in through the stitch, over the yarn, pull it up, under the yarn, pull through 2. Same place, in the stitch, over the yarn, pull up a loop, bring it, pull through 2. So we've got now 4 in there. And if any time that you are unsure or you're not sure whether or not you did something, in any project that you're working with, you need to make sure that you know where you are. And it's easy just to go back and look at your pattern or look at your stitching and say, oh, I do need to change that. I missed a stitch. And I've done that many times, but it's much easier to do it when you're in the process of making a round or a row than it is to have to frog back, 3 or 4 rows because you forgot to put a particular stitch in to create a pattern. So just keep that in mind when you're doing any type of project, that it's better to do and check your stitching and check to make sure you have your pattern correct as you're working up your rows. So we have now, should have 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 stitches. And now you can see that it's nice and tight, nice and taut. We're going to move the marker to the beginning of the row. In this particular row, because we want to continue to increase, we're going to do 1 cross stitch single crochet in the first and then an increase of 2. 1 and then 2, 1 to 2 all the way around. Again, we're going to go inside the cross stitch single crochet that we just did, yarn over, hook over, yarn under, pull through 2. Now we're going to do 2 over, pull up, under, pull through 2. Oh, and see, I didn't do it right. I have to do 2 there. See how easy it is to get, I'm talking and sometimes I just can't walk and chew gum at the same time, but I do try really hard. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna go 2 here, go over, and then under 2. I'm gonna do 1 here, over, under, over, under, pull up through 2, over, under. And we're going to do 1. And we're going to do 2. 1. 2. The key here is just making sure that that first stitch that you're doing over the yarn right away, because that's what really makes the tautness that you're going to have with it. Now somewhere along the line I messed up here, but we'll go 2, 4. Let me tell you where I messed up, because it's easy to do when I'm doing a project like this. Yeah, it's there. There's 2. There's 2. Oh, there it is. This is the last one I did. I did 2 and 1 instead of the other. And that's what messed me up. You guys probably saw it and you're going, oh no, you did 2 in that one instead of 1. Well, like I said, it's easy to do. And if you just check your work, you'll find that it's easier to frog a couple stitches than it is to frog an entire row or section of a particular project that you're doing. Okay. All right, so now we've done that row, that round. We're going to move this again, and we're going to do one more where we're going to do 1, 2, and an increase, 1, 2, and an increase. And I'm just going to go through this pretty quickly, and then I will get back to you after I finish this round. So I'll be right back with you. In our next round, we're going to do 3 single crochets and an increase. And we're just going to do that again. I'm going to go really slow again one more time just so you can see. We're going to go inside the stitch, over the yarn, pull up a loop, under the yarn, pull through 2. Inside the stitch, over the yarn, under the yarn, pull through 2. We're going to do that 3 times. And then we're going to do 2 in the same to increase. And we're just going to continue to do this all the way around. And at the end of doing these rounds that we've done, we should be able to see how the cross stitch single crochet is starting to really show as a cross inside your project. So finish this round, and then we'll get right back to it with you. Okay, we're back. And now you should have a ring or a round figure that looks just like this. And you're starting to see the crosses that you will have in this particular look. You see how there's a cross stitch here and a cross stitch there, and it's much firmer and less holy than it would be if you did a regular project. So try this out. Let me know that you liked the video by pressing the like button and subscribe. And again, you can visit my website at www.robinscrochetcorner.com. Again, my name is Robin Gribbin, and happy crocheting!